Hello again. Happy fun day. Every day is a day of Thanksgiving. Let's continue along with the Seacoast in English. I was thinking about the length of the video, the way it goes sometimes, and some of the sheer has been like 3 hours. I'm glad we want to keep this a family program too. Let's first start by special bracha for the kids that you should be able to continue to follow your Yetzer Tov and not the other Yetzer, and listen to your parents nicely and learn nicely and do all things that you're supposed to do and continue to bring godly light into the world. Special bracha for the children. That bracha should also come upon us. As the adults, the example we should lead forth and not lead our children astray. I was talking about the length of the video, 3 hours, and I used to joke around, some of these real rabbis can go on for a very long time. And I thought to myself, you remember back in the day, I want to remind you, we're not a band of drunkards. Some of us might be alcoholics, but as far as the drinking part, we want to keep the nefesh bahama happy, our animal soul. It's not that you keep it happy, but there's all different kinds of things that we like. So, when we have the special holidays, we get that part of us a new suit or a new pair of shoes or a piece of meat or a drink, because we're not trying to have an out of this world experience where we are these heavenly creations. We're trying to elevate God and these mundane things to the Most High, like we were talking about the godly light that comes from above, and then us creating a godly light that goes together, and then these two frenetic energies creating this. I was saying it's friction. I'm not sure if those were the words, but at any rate, so a little bit of drink, it kind of like takes the walls down. It can get you a little out of yourself and help open it up. If you don't drink, it's no big thing. If you use other things in Arizona, we have recreational items that are available. We'll keep this clean. So if you want to step the kids out of the room for a second, you can, because I want to tell you about one more thing. Although I'll still keep it clean there. If the kids are a little bit older, maybe 13 or 14, they might need a little parental guidance, but I don't think that'll even be the case. But the recreational items that we have available here in Arizona, I can't believe that we actually have it. These things I'm not particularly against and am very familiar with. If I'm correct, the way the Rebbe teaches us, however, that the mashka, when we take a bissel of the l'chaim, this kind of opens us up. Sometimes when we have, how can I help? Of course. What's up, Papa? Okay, see you.
There's 20 cases. Panaderia Mazatlan, they're going to come by and pick up.
The pallet that's in the middle of the shop?
I just put the boys there. So they're going to bring the check. I send the
Do they know where to get it, or I got to get it?
The guy's going to come by. You just let them know where they are.
I'd rather just have it up front. All right, 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 all right. I love the live format. I'm tempted to go back and start again, but let's continue along. I know I'm about to get to some good stuff when I have a pause, and we should know that when we have a pause, ultimately, there's nothing wrong with us pausing for other people and focusing on what we need to focus on for just a few minutes and then coming back to where we're at. Sometimes we have as we say, we have a Yetzer Tov, which is a good side, a good inclination, and sometimes we have an additional inclination that's not good. And the deal with that is sometimes this inclination that's not good could tempt us to do something good, like, oh, I'm too busy studying, I can't, or I'm going to go and lock myself in a room and try to leave my mundane existence and go to a heavenly abode where no one exists, and that's where God will find my presence there. And that's not the point. The point is that we want to elevate these mundane items from below, as it's God's wish that he wants to have a dwelling place in the lower world. So we were talking about the recreational items that are available here and have been available for the years. I'm only born in the 80s. Some of y'all was alive in the 70s. So this ain't the first time that you have seen or heard or thought of these things. And many of these things are still very new to me. But it says that this item here particularly, just so you know, causes us to go a little bit inside more. When we use that, we're not so open and receptive. The concept is it kind of makes us go inside, and those of us who are susceptible to the usage of such things, then we also understand. Also, with the length of the learning, when I was thinking about, there were 3 hours worth of learning on Malava Milk. I really wish or felt like I could have gone if I got a little bit earlier of a head start for, let's say, 5 hours. And I was thinking about as we were growing up, uh, for those of you who remember, there's a place called AAA, and you'd go in before you went on vacation with your family, and you receive something called a triptych. So then the representative would go in and grab whatever map. All these terms may be unfamiliar for some of you, but for those who you can enjoy this piece of nostalgia. So you'd go in, and the lady or guy, whoever's working, would have this little red circle, and then it would like point arrows, and you'd like point, and then they'd put like where you'd start, and then they'd draw the highlighter on your route and tell you how to get to, let's say you were driving from New York City to Atlantic City or New York City to Miami. And then you take this little foldable book, and when you got in your vehicle, then, your passenger, your co-captain, treat your partner like your co-captain, and co-captains act like a co-captain out here today. God help us. We ain't far bringing yet, but I ain't putting it past me. So, anyways, I was saying the AAA because the length of the videos, I jokingly say like Netflix, people go in there and watch 17 hours of 17 episodes, 23 seasons, won't get up from the couch. But then when it's time for us to learn a little bit about Most High, then, we see 10-minute flick, and it's like, you see 1 hour, it's like, oh boy, 3 hours, 5 hours. And it's not that we just hold by where we're holding. The thing that I also wanted to just address vaguely, bring up the AAA, there are 3 letters. There were, like, as we grew up, there were these places, they still exist, and instead of the 3 letters that are at the beginning of the alphabet, there's 3 letters that would be on these buildings. These combination of letters it's the same letter towards the end of the alphabet. And I was used to thinking about the video store. Yeah, I remember Blockbuster, but I'm not talking about Blockbuster. I'm talking about the ones that had the 3 same letters at the end of the alphabet, not AAA. So, for those of you who know, if you know, you know. What is it? IYKYK. Thank you, Rabbi Moshe. Continuing to honor Chabad of Arizona, Rabbi Levertov and Mrs. Levertov and the whole family, 49 years of service. This is so awesome and abundant. But you remember when you used to get the movie, if you got a videotape back in the day, you had you put the tape in the thing and it rewind it. But if you got to the end of the movie, then it rewind it too on your VCR. And that's how it used to be for these movies that you could pick up at the place that was not AAA, where you get the trip ticket, but it still had the 3 letters on the building, but towards the end of the alphabet. Then, if you remember, so, you watch your movie, and then at the end of the movie, then you probably weren't awake at that time, but it would kind of like rewind itself, and then it'd be sticking out there. And like when you woke up, you had to get that and put that away, before anybody else in the house got up. But if you remember, then it came to the point where we came to DVD technology, and it used to be you could get the 4 to 6 hour DVD. So now what would happen is you'd be watching your movie, and then you watch it, then you fall asleep, you wake up, the movie still be on. And that's the way we need to get about serving the Lord right now. That's the way we need to get about serving the Lord right now. We need to just, sometimes the Lord, when he opening up something, it's so fire and it's so heated and it's so holy that you just, God, put your head down. If you need to go to sleep right now, turn on the word of God. If you want to go to sleep right now, turn on this movie. You want to go to sleep right now, open up your Bible. That'll put you right to sleep. It's because God is trying to reach in. It's like surgery. When you go down and you go to sleep for a minute, and then then he start to work on you. And we got to remember the appearances as we're working on our trust in God, that if you were in the surgery room and you had gone under the anesthesia and then you woke up, when you woke up and you saw those people on top of you, you would be sorely afraid if you saw all the blood coming out of your body and the people standing on top of you performing a life-saving surgery. You almost might be tempted to tell them to get up off of you. But this is the way that our Father in heaven, sometimes when we hear a no or we hear a yes, we need to know that there is nothing outside of God when it comes to Torah and mitzvos, and nothing that God will not do for us. And if we don't understand, as we learned Saturday night, the challenge that is before us is only so that it has a abiding and a uplifting and a lasting and a edifying and a true purpose that is for your good. Let us not be like little children who cry because we don't get the truck that we want. Rabbi Yossi taught us yesterday also in Chassidus class. He said, but when we have a will, we understand that that is our will. And we don't want to tell the child that they don't want the truck. It's just okay to want the truck, but it's okay to not get it. It's not that you don't want the truck, which maybe from adult perspective, you think they don't want the truck, but we do all have our inner wills, and our inner Ratzon is perhaps what it's called in even deeper levels. And for all of us, we should know that it's God's will, that he desires, and it is his will that he has a dwelling place among his people. And we should know that inside of us, at the highest level of our souls, that it is our desire also, and our will, that we continue to connect Most High in the most amazing way. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable before you, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. I do not have my glasses, but we're just gonna have to make it right through anyway, anyhow. Yisro. Number one, sometimes a question is so obvious you wonder why it is not asked before. Take, for example, give me 30 more seconds. Did y'all get everything you needed in that first break? Chassidus is for you. Let me see if I got them. If I don't, we'll go on. But 30 more seconds. Get what you need. Be right back. All right, minute and 30 seconds. I apologize. For all y'all that's married out here, and we was talking about the recreational and all these other things, and the drinking and these pleasures and types and things. You know, sometimes when I was talking about the co-captains, because the co-captain is the closest person to them, co-captains, all y'all married, we know we kind of get that person because they're the closest one, and they have the inklings inside of them, especially made for our soul, for our correction in this world. So they are like the founding block of all of our triggers. Not that they are the founding block, they are the tip of the iceberg to our triggers. Your founding block came a long time ago. You can go work on that when you got the money and the time to be real with yourself, if you're willing to open up yourself to that point. But sometimes a co-captain, like I was looking for my glasses this weekend and I forgot that they were there. But sometimes your co-captain, you blame it on your co-captain, like, hey, where you put my glasses? And then sometimes you just forgot you had a little recreational and you forgot where you had put it. Then you think that the co-captain moved it. They're the closest one. Let us be kind to one another, as my grandfather would say. Parshas Yisro, number 1. Fairly long intro, but we want to talk. We want to continue to grow close so that when we far bring, we can even get closer. Lakotei Seikos, volume 16, page 203, adapted from a Seika, delivered on the 15th of Shavat, 5735, which was the year 1975. Hang on to your seat. Stay with me. Let's just roll right through this, okay? Sometimes a question is so obvious, you wonder why it was not asked before. Take, for example, the dialogue recorded shortly after the beginning of this week's Torah reading. Yisro, okay, Yisro, Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, reproaches him for having the entire Jewish people wait for his judgment on every matter. After consulting with God, Moshe conceded and adopted his father-in-law's suggestion to do what is practical. He appoints judges to arbitrate the day-to-day disputes that arises between the Jews. So what was he thinking originally? All right. Why didn't he recognize the difficulty that was so self-evident? And the Sikha that follows, thank you, Sikhas in English, that follows, one more note, small announcement and remark, as we're preparing for Kaf Bei Shavat, which is the 22nd day of this month that we're in now in Shavat. A happy Black History Month to all those who celebrate it. In this day and age, I have a friend of mine, honor you this morning too, Brother Raka. He told me, he said, I only celebrate Black History Day half of the month for the first 15 days because his dad was white. But however you celebrate it, whether you celebrate it at all or however that you do, let me not get racist on you and tell you things, but we do honor all people and all lives matter, of course. Why we would have to have a Black History Month, you can ask yourself that question. And I don't want to really go there. That's not the point of this conversation. But we can maybe take some time for that in the course of the month as well. At any rate, you don't take the time for the Super Bowl, right? Hey, come on, Lord. Come on, y'all. Just keep it real with me for 1 second. Just know, if anything out here, for us to grow, we got to keep it real. Back inside, Chaf Bei Shavat, for Malava Malka, which is Saturday night. That's when the new content comes out. When we do that, then we're going to honor that. And today is Tub Shavat, which is for the new trees. And make sure to have some fruit today. Glass of wine, whatever that you do, however that you would do it. In the special presentation, we were not making kiddush. We were saying Bari Prayagaf, and I was having a glass of wine, as you know, that's fruit too. And then And 1 week from now, it'll be Kaf Bei Shavat, which is the yard site of the Rebbitzin. And we really, 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 really want to highlight and accentuate all the wonderful work that the women around the world are doing and honor them, and not just wait till Mother's Day, which they deserve that. And we should know that every day is a day of Thanksgiving and a day to have honor and kavod and respect one another and look at each other as fearlessly as we can. It's a very hard thing to do without pointing fingers and overcoming stereotypical behaviors and things like that. But we are the most ever at the capability and capacity to be able to address and grow from these things and grow in our psyches and in our wisdom. So the sikha that follows, the Rebbe answers these questions by focusing on who Moshe was. Each one of us had experienced what it means to stand before a truly great person, someone who is not merely incrementally wiser or more emotionally developed, but who towers head and shoulders above us. Moses was at a very, very, very high place. I noticed in some of these sikhas and the Bereshis and the Shmos and the Genesis and the Exodus, some of these ones I won't say I know by heart, but I have read multiple times. But I'm going to tell you what, our journey is really going to continue as we continue to learn together. When we get to the next three books, the Vayikra, the Midbar, and the Devarim, the Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. My books are the particular ones on my shelf are a little bit more shiny because those editions came out a little bit later, and the Devarim is just brand new. To be able to get this set is just completely unfounded. And thank you for all the forerunners at Seacoast in English who just have done an absolute job, and that we should continue the work and continue to spread the wellsprings of Chassidus to our abilities, and just to be able to get that whole set. They used to email us, and everybody who helped fund those programs. And in the future, if you need, please go on to Seacoast in English, SIE.org, and if you're able to, just get the premium library and fill your house with holy books. This is one of the things that the Rebbe was talking about on Tu B'Shavat, that we just need to go from strength to strength and continue to just bring more manners of holiness. When you work at a job, you want a cost of living increase. And I want you to know, in your holiness and in your life, you need to have a living increase. God's been blessing you for this long of amount of time. You should continue to give more and continue to focus more, and in the quantity that you're focused on and in the quality that you're focused on as you're growing and you're just coming to every good thing. And I know it's tough, y'all. I know it's tough, but just keep fighting, keep fighting. So we're talking about standing before this great person. They have Moses. He's so high, and the point is, when you get around someone like that, then you typically act a little different. You know what I'm saying? And like most of us, when you get into your house of worship, you act a little different than you do outside of there. But the good thing we should know is this isn't a point of talking smack on people. Okay, if you're in the way that a person acts in front of a person who's wise and great is really who they are, not the other person that you think you had seen when you had seen them at the club the other night, and they was still that same person, and that's okay. Anyways, so standing around Moses, he's heads and shoulders, towers above everyone. And then when he comes to it, he only sees this potential that are inside the people. So Moses knew this. He realized what happened when Jews came into his presence. They forgot about their individual concerns, and then they shared in his vision. Do you know how you get like that sometimes? Or we ought to be like this before you got to get called into a meeting at work, or before you continue to have your family meetings, because that's where God dwells. But sometimes when you get called in front of other people, then you forget about all the little things that you ought not be thinking about, and then you get back on track with the program. And that was the reason he thought he could judge them, Moshe, because when they came to him, they didn't quibble. All right, they were able to look at themselves and their fellow men in a different light. Moses, and that's why it's also helpful for us to come around others too, because then we naturally lose a piece of ourselves as well, and we have an outside behavior. There's a certain way you maybe conduct yourself when you're outside as opposed to in your house. But we should also know that our walls do speak, and that the Most High God is everywhere at all times, watching in there, and that there are no secrets hidden from Him. So let us try to continue to adjust our behaviors, our attitudes, even inside and outside of our minds. Also know that there is a big difference between a thought and an action. Thinking something is one thing, acting upon it is another. Moses, he really wanted the people to be able to live on this level, and that's what we were talking about too. When all the people were coming to New York to see the Rebbe, and they would come and get this bracha, but now we're getting into the underpinnings of building our intellectual capability to actually trust and believe in God, not just coming for a fix and standing in front of someone who is tall, heads and shoulders taller than you, and feeling this amazing energy in it, like turning your rebelliousness away. And then you get on, and then you realize you got to come back to the setting that you're in and face real life problems. Now we have to work on our psyche and our actions and take steps to actually apply this faith, and them to actually be able to begin and continue to build this relationship of closeness with the Most High God. Moses wanted the Jewish people to live on this level. He saw it as possible because when they were in his presence, they were able to step beyond who they ordinarily were, was his initial perspective, and that is why he thought he could judge them himself. Now, Jethro, didn't look with Moses' eyes, all right? He was Kohen Midian. He was the leader of Midian. He saw the people as they actually were. He didn't look at them negatively, but he did look at them realistically. And some of y'all know that I ain't trying to be mean. I'm just trying to be real. The Rebbe teaches us, and I need to take this lesson myself. And all of these, I take them to heart. The words from the Rebbe is, it's okay not to be right, and it's better to be kind. From that perspective, there was a huge gap between who the people were and what Moses aspired for them to be. Therefore, he pointed out the need for Moses to delegate authority, to appoint judges who could relate to people on their own level, communicating the Torah's judgments to them within the context of their day-to-day realities. Moses listened to Yisro, posed a question to God, and then accepted his father-in-law's suggestion. Was he conceding his position, giving up on the Jewish people, ever reaching the goals he had set for them? No. Jethro opened him up to a new way of seeing things. Moses could invest himself, his inner spirit, and judges, and they would communicate to the people on their level. That would be teaching Moses' Torah, God's Torah, but it would be communicated in a manner that did not require the people to rise above their ordinary circumstances. On the contrary, it would enable them to elevate and align themselves with the vision of God charted for them in the Torah within the realities of their day-to-day setting, and ultimately transform it into a dwelling for God. So as we begin right now on page 254, it's saying delegating more than authority. Hopefully we can make it through very far, because I have class to be in myself in 35 minutes. So let's sprint through here. So this week's Torah reading, as we've been talking about, relates that when Yisro, brother Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, was sitting, and we're in the book of Exodus, still in the 18th chapter, 13th verse, all right? To judge the people from the morning until the evening, he protested. Why are you sitting alone while the entire nation is standing before you from the morning until evening? Both you and the people will wither. He then advised Moses in the 21st verse, Ve'ata Secheza, which we talked about a little bit the other night. And let's talk about it more now. Select from among the people capable, God-fearing men, i.e. that Moses should choose leaders over thousands to judge the people on a continuous basis regarding their minor affairs, and only judge major matters himself. In this manner, Yisro assured him, you will endure, and this people and this entire people will reach its destination intact. This leads to a series of obvious questions. The Akidish, Yitzchak, and other places. How is it that Moses, the faithful shepherd of the Jewish people, did not realize this himself? Why was he not concerned that by judging the people alone in all matters, both he and they would become worn out? Why didn't he conceive this most simple plan to appoint judges to assist him in arbitrating the people's disputes? Why was it necessary for Yisro, Jethro, Kohen Midian, the leader of Midian, the priest of Midian, who visited only briefly, to come to this realization and ensure that it be enacted? There is a popular saying, we learn this out of Brachos 45a, from which it is apparent that insights can be gained from the conduct of people at large. Then also in Bava Kama 92a, from which it is apparent that popular sayings can be associated with Torah concepts. A guest for a while sees for a mile, while a local person may occasionally overlook even the obvious, just like Y.Y. Jacobson, Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson, and his Yud Shavat Farbringen. Look it up on your YouTube. He was saying, sometimes the people around you, you have no influence, and then someone across the world, you say something, and they send you a check, and they're, completely blown away with what you say. How could such a thing be? But so the guest sees a guest for a while, sees for a mile. The local person may occasionally overlook even the obvious, but heaven forbid to say that Moses, whom God himself chose as the shepherd of Israel from the moment of his birth, we learn this in the book of Exodus 3:1 and the commentaries that are on Exodus 1:18, 21, 22, and 24, and who had already actually served as a Jew's faithful shepherd for a given time. Now, if we look in Exodus 2nd chapter, 11th verse, it says that Moses came of age and he went out to his brethren. And then there's the opinion in there's Shmos Rabbah 127, a source of citing there, how old Moses really was at this time. So heaven forbid Moses, whom God chose himself as a shepherd of Israel from the moment of his birth, and who had already actually served as the Jews' faithful shepherd for a given time, did not have the awareness until Yisro came and spurred him to act concerning this matter. This leads to the understanding that Moses saw things differently, and from Moses' vantage point, this was the reality. He wasn't just like, how sometimes you look and see the good in other people, but Moses was really at a level where he was seeing the good in people, and we really need to get our head and shoulders above people to the point where you see that in them and stop looking down on them and make it a true reality and not just a compliment and patronizing people. And this is not easy to get to. If you ain't there yet, don't worry. Just the fact that you thought about it, you getting there. Don't worry. In his view, he alone could. I ain't perfect. By the teachings of getting to the underpinnings of our intellect, the Rebbe teaches us to push this type of thoughts away. When you're having that type of thought about your brother or your sister, push it away. You don't like what they do, push it away. You don't like what somebody's doing, push it away and correct it in yourself. For you to see it, you had to have a small amount of it in yourself. If you confess and repent to what's you, that even if it's into you for a smaller amount, can fix it in you and them. Stop playing. I don't want to miss my class here. We got a lot of work to do, and we got a lot of learning to do. So Moses is straight, like above the people. He like this really see their higher soul in his view. He alone could and moreover should personally involve himself with judging the people. It's kind of healthy to have a judge like that. Was it possible that Moshe was unable to judge Israel is a question here, seeing to not only their major matters, but also to their minor concerns. Nevertheless, this would not lead to negative consequences, neither for him nor the Jewish people as a whole. Indeed, he would endure, and this entire people would reach its destination intact. Further support for the conception that Moses judging the people from the morning until the evening is a true path according to the Torah, and thus would certainly prevent Moses and the Jewish people from becoming worn out, can be derived from our sage's statement regarding another name for Yisro, Jethro. It says Yeser here, and regarding the name Yisro itself, our sages state that he was so named because he added a passage, SIE Parshas, to the Torah, i.e., the passage beginning Ve'ata Sechazah. Interesting here. I was going to say I'm changing my name to Yes Sir, so now when people want to call me, they say Yes Sir when they want me to come. And what made me smile there is because L'chaim OG, as soon as people see him, Uncle Zakaria, we thank you for all your work. I want to continue to dedicate the learning to my dear brother Theodore Jason Ben Homer Doler and my brother-in-law Richard Allen Ben Richard Allen, and all the women of excellence as we're preparing for Kaf Bey Shabbat. Every time they see Uncle Zakaria, they say L'chaim when they see him. Amen. So when you see me say yes, I'm just joking. You don't have to. Our sages use the wording. He added a passage to the Torah, and when I respond, I should say, "But God," and not that he was worthy of having a passage of the Torah delivered or written due to him, as is stated regarding other passages of the Torah. This choice of wording indicates that not only was the passage beginning Ve'ata Sechazah revealed by Yisro, but furthermore, Yisro brought about an increase in addition to the Torah, as it were, through him was added this passage, which was previously not included in the Torah as it existed by itself. See free by Midbar in the book of Numbers 10:29. This content of this passage, Ve'ata Sechazah, had already been given to Moses at Sinai. Why did it become obscured from Moses' eyes? So that the matter would be attributed to Yisro. Nevertheless, the wording he added a passage indicates that Yisro's advice given in this passage was in addition to the Torah stated to the main text, and there's lengthy explanations, and that Yisro was able to introduce the motive of the higher quality of light, this Yisrana, or coming from the darkness into the Torah, and this is the implication of the words Yeter Parsha. He added a passage. So Rabbi Simon Ben Yochai, the author of the passage of the Sifri, indicates that the words of Yisro, Jethro to Moses in Exodus 18, chapter 23rd verse, Vitzivach, what's it say here? Vitzivka Elohim, as meaning as God commanded you. The intent is that the command to appoint judges had been given to Moses at Sinai, but Moses forgot it, and Yisro was calling it to his attention. You never turned on the movie on Netflix and there was some part you didn't understand, or some part you didn't see and you didn't know what it was. You started asking questions. Oh, what are they doing? Or what? You ain't never turn on your soap opera and be like, oh, I can't pick it up here, and just turn it. Just because you didn't understand 2 words here. Let the Lord speak to you, or type it in your thing, or apply your mind for just a few more minutes, or write it in the comments. Write me 602-338-0129, whatever the deal is. Just keep it moving, keep it rolling. This choice of wording indicates that not only was the passage beginning Ve'ata Sechazah revealed by Yisro, but furthermore, Yisro brought about an increase in addition to the Torah, as it were. Through him was added this passage, which was previously not included in the Torah as it existed itself. And extending that concept, it is understood that before Yisro brought about this addition to Torah itself, the Torah of truth did not prescribe the path of conduct stated in the passage beginning Ve'ata Sechazah, I guess. Instead, Moses himself was to judge every concern of the people. One should always have a judgment concerning 100,000 silver pieces and 1 peruta as equal in importance in all regards. We learn that in the ruling from the Rambam, Hilkos Sanhedrin, and we're also celebrating the Siyum of the Rambam. For all those participating with that and those wishing to begin right now, the point it's saying is like if you're an accountant and we have $1 missing, or we have $1,000 missing, the point is that there's an error. So we need to pay attention to every detail, whether we think it's small or if we think it's large. And when we look inside of ourselves, not trying to decipher between what's important and not. Any ill accounting or inaccuracy is in general the same. This concept of 100,000 silver pieces or 1 little stupid coin. However, I still want to bring YY's Rabbi YY Jacobson is still saying that we can be careful though, because sometimes you don't want to give up 300,000 because you got a little nickel or a dime problem. Some of them problems, some of them egos, and some of the things where you get caught up in yourself, or some of the things where you make a decision that's not always the biggest thing. You have a true wealth in everything that you're doing, and you don't need to cry about this little dime or a nickel or a $50 bill. So it's important, but don't let it get you to the point like when you want to take a self-reckoning on one's soul. There's appointed times, like when the shop is open is not when we take inventory. Okay, when you take inventory, it might be, every night. You can walk through your day's activities. You can once a month have a recollection, or once a year, and maybe have a time when you're feeling down about yourself. But otherwise than that, focus on the positive. As Uncle Zakaria would tell us, L'chaim OG says, stay on offense. You know what I'm saying? If we just keep scoring touchdowns, we don't even need to play defense. You got it? Got it. Let's move on. Team, time. For that reason, Moses, whose life was solely Torah, conducted himself in this manner. Dor Hashva'i, seventh generation. Us right now, walking towards Mashiach. Get excited, get ready, do your part accordingly. The question then becomes reversed. Since had Moses conducted himself in this man, he would nevertheless endure, and this entire people would reach its destination intact. What then aroused concern? That Moses' approach would cause him and the people to become worn out, and the matter to become too burdensome for him. Exodus 18:18, following precedent. Oh boy, Yisro made his observation that Moses had misjudged his potential, and that of the Jewish people, after the second set of tablet was given on Yom Kippur, if you remember, says, although there's a difference of opinion among our sages regarding when Jethro came to visit Moses and the Jewish people, before or after the giving of the Torah, the source indicates that even the sages who maintain that Yisro came before the giving of the Torah concede that he gave this advice after Yom Kippur. However, these things work out. And then there is the Rabosenu, Bale, Hatosavos, and others maintain that Yisro gave his the Torah. This is not the place that we're talking about that. And we are about down to the last minute. I could go on a little bit longer. When we pick back up, we can pick back up at number 2. If you only get through this, we're going to be talking about wow. So section we're on is number 2, following precedents. Then we're talking about a leader's ability to influence his people. Uncle Zakaria want to hear some topics. Leaders sacrifice, enabling the people to be their best possible selves, seeing beyond the immediate circumstances. Moses' ongoing influence, the power of sight, an ascent and not a descent. And lastly, we're going to learn that it's through such efforts that God's intent, that this desire for a dwelling place in the lowest realms, i.e. this material realm below where there is none. And it's talking about, again, illuminating the Rebbe Rayat's passing in the last week on Yet Shavat. 10th of Shavat is also the yard site and the anniversary of passing of his grandmother. Rebbetzin Rivka had passed away on this date, and 5710, the Rebbe Rayat's prepared a mimer, Basi Lagani, as we learned. Thank you for those who put in 1 minute. Thank you for those who put in 1 hour. Thank you for those who almost put a whole day, 18 hours of learning with Rabbi YY Jacobson that we have with us all year and for a whole lifetime. And the Rebbe, this is the mimer and his spiritual last will and testament for us as Dor Hashva'i, the coming generation. We should be able to be worthy inheritors of the great legacy that's been passed to us. And we know that we are, or you wouldn't have it. Inheritance is only for you, and so you have everything in you to do this. Even if they give it someone else, it don't matter. It's yours, and you have it forever. God has so many ways to make things just happen in a beautiful, most happy way, and we should be happy for who we have in our lives, and be grateful for the opportunity before us. Let's take a break. We'll come back and pick up at number 2 when we can. Enjoy your Tub Shabbat. Continue to take baby steps one day at a time. Can't wait to see you very, very soon. L'chaim, l'chaim. Can't wait to have a coffee. See you.